Solved problems. Journal, ledger, trial balance, trading and profit and loss account, balance sheet. Problem. BBA class started a new business on 1st January 2020. The following transactions took place during the first month in business. 2020, January 1. Edward commenced business with 10,000 in cash. January 3. The business paid 8,000 of the cash into a business bank account. January 6. The business bought a van on credit from Perkins Garage for 3,000. January 9. Edward rented shop premises for 1,000 per quarter. He paid for the first quarter immediately by check. January 12. The business bought goods on credit from Roy Limited for 4,000. 15th January. The business paid shop expenses amounting to 1,500 by check. 18th January. Edward sold goods on credit to Scott and Company for 3,000. January 21. The business settled Perkinson's account by check. January 24. Edward received a check from Scott and Company for 2,000. This check was paid immediately into the bank. January 27. Edward sent a check to Roy Limited for 500. January 31. Goods costing 3,000 were purchased from Roy Limited on credit. January 31. Cash sales for the month amounted to 2,000. Required. A. Enter the above transactions in appropriate ledger accounts, balance of each account as of 31st January 2020 and bring down the balances as at that date. B. Extract the trial balance as at 31st January 2020. C. Prepare a trading and profit and loss account for the year ended 31st January 2020. And D. Prepare the balance sheet, statement of financial position as at that date. Solution. Journal entries. January 1. Edward commenced business with 10,000 in cash. Cash in hand debit 10,000. Edward capital credit 10,000, being the amount invested in business. January 3. The business paid 8,000 of the cash into a business bank account. Cash at bank debit 8,000. Cash in hand credit 8,000, being the amount deposited in business bank account. January 6. The business bought a van on credit from Perkinson's Garage for 3,000. Vehicles debit 3,000. Accounts payable credited 3,000, being the van bought on account for business. January 9. Edward rented shop premises for 1,000 per quarter. He paid for the first quarter immediately by check. January 9. Rent expense debit 1,000. Cash at bank credit 1,000, being the shop rent paid for the first quarter. January 12. The business bought goods on credit from Roy Limited for 4,000. Supplies debit 4,000. Accounts payable credit 4,000, being the goods bought on credit. January 15. The business paid shop expenses amounting to 1,500 by check. January 15. Shop expenses debit 1,500. Cash at bank credit 1,500, being the shop expenses paid by check. January 18. Edward sold goods on credit to Scott and Company for 3,000. Accounts receivable debit 3,000. Sales credit 3,000, being goods sold on credit. January 21. The business settled Perkinson's account by check. Accounts payable debit 3,000. Cash at bank credit 3,000, being the accounts payable to Perkinson settled in full. January 24. Edward received a check from Scott and Company for 2,000. This check was paid immediately into the bank. Cash at bank debit 2,000. Accounts receivable credit to 2,000, being the amount received from Scott and Company and deposited into bank. January 27. Edward sent a check to Roy Limited for 500. Accounts payable debit 500. Cash at bank credit 500, being the amount paid to Roy Limited. January 31. Goods costing 3,000 were purchased from Roy Limited on credit. Supplies debit 3,000. Accounts payable credit 3,000, being the goods bought on credit. January 31. Cash sales for the month amounted to 2,000. Cash in hand debit 2,000. Sales credit 2,000, being the cash sales for the month of January. Ledger. Cash at bank. January 3. Cash in hand debit 8,000. January 9. Rent expense credit 1,000. January 15. Shop expense credit 1,500. January 21. Accounts payable credit 3,000. January 24. Accounts receivable debit 2,000. January 27, accounts payable credit 500. January 27, accounts payable debit 500. Closing balance 4000 debit. Accounts payable account January 6, vehicles credit 3000. January 12, supplies credit 4000. January 21, cash at bank debit 3000. January 27, cash at bank debit 500. January 31, supplies credit 3000. Total 6500 credit balance in accounts payable account. Accounts receivable account January 18, debit 3000. January 24, cash at bank 2000. Closing balance 1000 debit in accounts receivable account. Vehicles account January 6, accounts payable 3000. Debit balance. Cash in hand January 1, Edward Capital 10,000 debit. January 3, cash at bank 8000 credit. January 31, sales 2000 debit. Closing balance 4000 debit in cash in hand account. Edwards Capital January 1, cash in hand 10,000 credit. Closing balance 10,000 credit. Sales account January 18, accounts receivable credit 3000. January 31, cash in hand credit 2000. Total sales 5000 credit balance. Supplies account January 12, accounts payable debit 4000. January 31, accounts payable debit 3000. Total supplies account 7000 debit balance. Shop expenses January 15, cash at bank 1500 debit. Debit balance 1500 in shop expenses. Rent expenses January 9, cash at bank 1000 debit balance. Trial balance for the month ended 31st January 2020. Account titles debit credit. Cash in hand debit 4000. Cash at bank debit 4000. Accounts receivable debit 1000. Vehicles debit 3000. Accounts payable credit 6500. Edward Capital credit 10,000. Sales credit 5000. Supplies 7000. Shop expenses 1500. Rent expenses 1000. Total debits 21,500. Total credits 21,500. Trading and profit and loss account. On the credit side, sales 5,000. On the debit side, supplies 7,000. On the credit side, gross loss carried down 2,000. On the debit side, gross loss brought down 2,000. Shop expenses 1,500. Rent expenses 1,000. Total expenses 4,500. Net loss 4,500. Balance sheet. On the asset side, cash in hand 4,000. Cash at bank 4,000. Accounts receivable 1,000. Vehicles 3,000. Total assets 12,000. Accounts payable 6,500. Edward Capital 10,000. Less net loss 4,500. Net Edwards Capital 5,500. Total liabilities on capital 12,000. Recap. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel Accounts Lobby for various solved problems and lectures on accountancy.